All right, what's up, everyone? Just had to change the camera around a little bit. The stupid glare from this light. This room sucks for lighting. Camera sucks on the computer, but we'll make it done. We'll get it done. I guess not the best quality, not the big high quality setup like all these other uh, shows and people have, but we make do with what we have. Hopefully, the content is what's key. And this video, we're gonna talk about speed and getting faster. Because who doesn't want to get faster? And this is especially going to be for us people who are getting older. Think you're 30, you're in your 30s now, like myself. I'm 35, almost 36 here in a few months, and I still want to get faster. I want to be faster than I was when I was younger. I mean, I was always a pretty fast kid. I mean, for sprinting and stuff, even the mile, I used to be good at the mile. I used to run the mile in like 5.5 minutes when I was in like elementary school, middle school. But again, that's not true speed. I'm talking sprinting speed, getting faster, short distance. And again, it's not just straight line speed either. It is because when you want to be an athlete or an athlete for life, as you get older, you got to be able to move too. So that speed is going to help us in everyday life, I think, because I think speed translates everywhere. The power to get up the stairs, the ability to catch yourself when you slip and fall on the ice or trip and catch yourself. Or if you're just playing pickup sports with your buddies or whatever it is, chasing the kids down, showing them who's boss and that they can't outrun you yet. So, being fast is always a good thing, always a good goal, a fun thing to do. It just feels cool to say you're still pretty fast, no matter what your age is. And as you get older, you sit on the couch, maybe you're watching the Super Bowl and you see all these high, highly tuned athletic machines, as they would have said in The Water Boy. But you see the McCaffreys and the wide receivers. You know these guys are fast. The D-backs, you know these guys are fast and can fly. But now you see even like Trent Williams at left tackle. He can fly for a big 300-pound dude. Or the DNs are all freaks and run 4.4s and 4.5s and stuff like that. And linebackers, Fred Warner can fly. Willie Gay from the Chiefs is pretty fast. So all these guys at just positions that in the past in the NFL, the linemen used to be just big lumbering dudes. Now they're all 300-pound freaks who can run pretty fast. 4.8, 4.9, 4.7, some of them, 40s. And you think, oh, you're watching them. Oh, I back in the day, I could run that. I could run a 4.5. Well, you probably couldn't because you don't realize how fast that actually is. I think the fastest I ever ran was like a 4, mid to upper 4.7s. Now it's probably 4.9, I think was my best. The last time I've ran it, my goal is to get back down to a 4.7, which I think I can. Just got to get my feet healthy. Broken toe. I don't know. I think it's broken, but not the best to do run on right now. Did sprints this morning and did not feel great, but it didn't feel terrible either. So maybe it's not broken. Maybe it's just sprained, but it was all black and blue and getting a little better, but that's a whole other topic. So, but you see all these guys in sports when you're doing your normal thing, sitting on the couch, sitting in the recliner, just watching, daydreaming about days when you used to be fast and wishing you could be fast again. And the kids ask you to come out and play and run around, play tag and chase them around the yard and play football with them. And you try and then you're huffing and puffing and you can barely move. And you're afraid to actually try and get up and chase them and sprint a little bit because you might blow out a hamstring. But you want to get faster. You want to train. You want to get back in shape and feel like an athlete again. And sprinting is one of the best things you can do for that. But how do you do it if you haven't done it? Maybe it's been 5, 10, 15 years since you've done any sprinting. But you need to do it. You know you need to get athletic and feel good again. And sprinting is the best exercise. I truly believe that. And how do you do that? How do you start? How do you get back on track as you reach your 30s, as you get into your 40s and 50s and get older and still be able to sprint a little bit and be able to do these things? Well, let's talk about it a little. So, again, if you haven't done it in a while, and then by a while I mean a few years or whatnot, even if you haven't done it in a few months, you're taking a few months off. You probably don't need to jump right in and go. I'm gonna go run 10 100-meter dashes. That's just a recipe for disaster. Blow out a hamstring, blow out a quad, a hip, whatever, tear ACL, something like that. You're probably not going to be, even if you don't get necessarily hurt, you're going to be feeling the soreness for probably days and weeks and be like, what the heck just hit me? And you wonder why, because you haven't done anything in a while. The best thing to do is to never stop doing it. But like most people, we all stop after probably age 15, 16, 18, after high school, after your sports career done. If you played longer, maybe college, maybe pros, maybe you did it a little bit longer. But once you stop, that's what it all hits you. Because speed is the thing you lose the quickest. You need to be doing it every 3 to 5 days. You need to hit that body with some sort of speed element to keep up and maintain it and gain speed. But again, if you take too much time off and then you think you're going to just get it all back in one fall swoop, it's probably not going to happen. You're probably not a genetic freak like a lot of these athletes are, these pro athletes are, the 1% of the 1%. So you need to be realistic. You need to realize where you're at and what you have more likely haven't done than have done recently. And start there. Start slowly. Start, again, set unrealistic goals. Like I always say, that's fine. But be realistic with where you're at. If you haven't sprinted in a long time, again, you're not going to want to start with 10 100-meter sprints. So how can we start building in? Well, it's always good to start with some prepping the body, prepping the joints, prepping the ankles, the feet, the ligaments, the tendons, the muscles for these high impacts. Sprinting is like the highest impact, highest intensity thing you can do for your body. And when I say sprint, I don't mean necessarily you have to be Usain Bolt or Noah Lyles, the fastest people in the world. It's being fast for yourself and going as fast as you can. It might start out pretty slow, but as you get going and get back into it, it's going to be faster and faster, hopefully, if you're doing things right and being smart about it and working hard. But again, starting out, prep the ankles and muscles and ligaments and tendons and hips and everything. Get your body prepared for the high impact that is sprinting. So things like extensive little pogo jumps, plyo hops, all these different hops and skips and bounds and things like that, and build into it. Don't just jump in full bore without knowing, yes, the best thing to do to get faster is sprint. That's obvious. Doesn't take a brain surgeon to tell you that. Although a lot of these strength and conditioning people will make it like it's some huge crazy idea that to get faster, yeah, you need to sprint. Duh. But again, start prepping the body. Some extensive plyos, low impact hops, pogo hops, skips, jumps, things like that, and get the body prepared. That kind of thing for like a warm up. You probably don't need to do all this crazy stretching and stuff. Move the body fast. Maybe do some. Just get the body used to doing things fast again. Some leg swings could even help against the wall or whatnot. Just moving the body fast. Move. Get that body, that mind thinking again, where it's everything you're done. The fastest thing you do is pop open a can of your beer now and chug that. That's the fastest thing you can do. And that's not what we're talking about. We want to get fast and get that mind thinking and reacting, communicating with the body fast, because then that's going to turn everything on to get going fast. So these prep, extensive plyos and jumps and pogos and things like that can help building up into it. And then start slow with your sprints. Again, it might not be an unassisted sprint. Maybe you're going to start. A great place to start with sprints are hill sprints. Why? Because you got an incline and you're not going to be able to go full speed. And it's going to help teach you that acceleration. You're going to be slightly angled going up the hill. and not get the full extension with the legs, so you're not likely to tear hamstrings or things like that. So it doesn't have to be like a super steep hill. Maybe a slight incline is going to be great. So it's kind of like a loaded sprint in that case, because you're not going to be able to get the top speed, and it's going to help you just build. So start shorter. You don't need to start 40, 50, 60 yards. Start 10, 15 yards and build from there. And again, same with that is you don't need to do a million reps, and you never really need to do a ton of reps on sprints. The sprint is high intensity. If you're sprinting to get faster, you don't need a ton of reps all the time, especially if you, as you get going, as you get more into it, you probably don't need as much. And then make sure you're rested in between as well. So make sure it's not just turning it into suicides or whatever you used to do in conditioning when you were a kid for punishment in your sports. So hill is a great way to start. Short hill sprints or sled sprints, again, because that's that weighted, that loaded, resisted sprinting, and it's gonna again help so you're not going as fast as possible. But again, make sure you're not going too heavy right away with that. I'll just give you some resistance to build and not just hit yourself with a ton of volume right away. Build it up into it. Be realistic as you go. And then again, once you get on you can start with short flat ground. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, I wouldn't go too long distance until you get back used to it. Start with short 10, 15, 20 yard sprints and build, and gradually add each week how many you're doing until you find what works for you, what amount of volume works for you. Because we're all different. Everyone's different. But again, make sure you're resting. Throw in different variations too. That's a great way. Push up. Start on the ground with your chest on the ground. Push up. Roll over and get up. Sitting down, get up. Half kneeling sideways. All these different variations to make it a little bit so it's not just a full-on blast right out of the gates. And even adding in, to make it more fun, toss a ball and accelerate to get it. Throw a frisbee down and accelerate to get it. But again, be realistic with where you're at and build to where you want to be. Because speed's going to help you feel better. It's going to help you move better. If you're doing it right, your joints are going to feel better. You're going to build more muscle, burn some more fat, look better. And again, you're going to be able to beat your kids. You're going to be able to, I shouldn't say that. That probably will try to beat your kids in like races or in tag games and stuff like that in sports, or beat your friends in pickup games and you'll be able to go into the pickup games and not worry about tearing a hamstring or pulling on some other muscle or things like that. Speed's going to help you do that. Building is going to help you do that. But getting faster means being real as you age, means being realistic with where you're at. If you haven't done it forever, start with where you're at. Build into it. Speed is something that needs to be done often. So start maybe twice a week, then maybe up to 3 times. And then you can do it, depending on your schedule, where you are, 3 times might be good. That's good. But you can do it more often too, because again, it's not just straightforward speed. It's laterally. It's change of direction. It's agility. If you got ways to do it, agility is more like games and playing sports and that type of stuff. Reactive, whereas change of direction is more set. There's a cone there, a line there. You're going to go that, then cut, then back, whatever. It's sprinting in all different directions, forward, backwards, sideways, front and back, around, whatever it is, in a circle, curvilinear speed sprints. So again, it's not just straightforward. It's building on all these different sprints, starting with where you're at, usually going to be inclined, or resisted sprints are a great way, and then shorter sprints are a great way to start. Just building and getting used to that explosion and power and figuring out what your speed is like. And as you get going, then you can build to those longer sprints, 20, 30, 40 yards. Even if you want, heck, you can get up to whatever, 100 if you're going to be, maybe you want to get back into track and 400s and stuff like that. Because technically 400 is probably still a sprint. But again, knowing your limits, knowing where you're at, and not just throwing it all in at once to try and get back to full speed without ever doing it. Without doing it in 5-10 years or whatever it's been. Build into it. Again, speed is like a tree. Tony Holler always says this. You plant it, and it takes a long time to grow. So you got to do it often, but you got to do it for a long time. And I don't mean a long time like you don't have to sprint for a minute, because you're not sprinting for a minute. No one sprints for really a minute straight. Again, on the 400 meter, yeah, that's probably about as long. But think of sprints as short amount of time, 5 to 10 seconds. Those types of things. And then you're resting a good amount of time so you can do it again. And you do it often, and you do it for a long time, as in weeks, months, years, and years, and years. That's when it grows. That's when it blossoms. That's when it turns into a giant tree. It's not just overnight and you just soak it, and so you plant the seed and you'll soak it, drown it in water, hoping it grows to be a giant tree tomorrow. It's not going to happen that way. That's wishful thinking. If it did, we'd all be super fast. We'd all be challenging for the Olympics next year in Paris, or this year in Paris, trying to be Noah Lyles. But that's not what it is. That's not how it works. So you gotta let it grow. Let that speed grow. And yes, you can get faster. You can still train speed as you get older, even if you haven't done it in a while. And that's probably good. You're probably gonna get faster if you haven't done it in a while, because you have a lot to work with. You're not very fast right now, so you got a lot of ground to gain. But again, start with where you're at, figure out where you're at, and that is how you do it. Prep the body, get it, ligaments, muscles, tendons ready to go. There's a little thumbs up. Thanks, dude. What was I saying? The hops, the skips, the jumps, that type of stuff. Those lower intensity plyos, and then even get into, as you get advanced in that, more intense plyos, and build into the sprints. Start with hills, start with resisted, start with shorter sprints, lower volume, and then build your way into it. Maybe you start with 4 10-yard sprints on your first day, and then by the next week it's 6, and maybe then 7, or you're adding 1 a week, and then maybe boom, after a month or 2 of that, you add another day, and you build on that, and then you add some change of direction stuff. Again, there's no set way you have to do it, but I think that's a good idea, is to start gradually introducing these plyos to kind of prep the body, jumps and things like that. Hops, skips, rolls, crawls even will help get the body ready, and then start your sprint slowly, lower volume, and then gradually into it, increase distance, increase intensity, increase speed, increase what was I going to say? Increase, I don't know what I was going to say, increase effort, because even that, your effort's going to get more as you get, and the main thing of sprinting too is relax. Most people are so tense, especially with like weight training, we're taught to be tense and squeeze everything. Sprinting, you want to relax and let everything just feel it. Sprinting on different surfaces. If you're starting out, maybe you probably don't want to start right on a hard pavement. I mean, that's the best for getting faster is pavement, because there's a lot, or like a track. Maybe you want to start on grass or a softer surface till those feet, ankles, tendons get used to everything. Even sand can be good for older dudes or women. I mean, it's not good technically for speed, getting faster, because there's no like sturdy ground. You're not sprinting. The ground's displacing as you push back, but it's good for kind of getting into a rhythm of that motion. It can be, but again, that's not something you want to do if you want to get faster. But it's going to be friendly on the joints, and it's going to help you get that sprinting motion down and feel like you're going to be going faster. But again, you're not going to necessarily get faster by sprinting on sand too often, because it's not good for speed technically. Because again, you think as you're pushing that sand, the ground's moving, whereas you're pushing grass or turf or pavement or a track, that ground's not moving. You're just boom and reacting right off it and bouncing off of it, which is you want to get faster. That's why a harder surface usually run faster on. So, but yes, so sprinting, you should be doing it if you want to be an athlete for life. You can do it as you get into your 30s, into your 40s, into your 50s, into your 60s. I have clients that are in their 60s that do it. But it's best, if you're a kid, do keep doing it. Again, this is mainly for the older, us people as we get older, getting back into it, how to do it. But if you have any more questions on it, if you need some help getting into it, reach out. My training programs include, if you want sprinting, I can get you a good sprinting program, get you back dialed in, getting faster. Even here in the winter, there are things you can do. Oh, that's one thing. If you don't, in the winter, if you don't have access to like a track, I go to the track almost every morning whenever I'm sprinting. But not everyone has access to that. Not everyone has an indoor enough turf or whatever or space to sprint. If you have an airdyne bike, again, it's not the same necessary motion, but it's still getting that body to move fast, which can help. Or a treadmill. I hate treadmills in the first place. I'd like to try the treadmill. That looks pretty sweet for acceleration sprinting, but I don't like treadmills in general. Even like the curved ones, they're just weird to run on. But putting a band around, anchoring a band and like sprinting in place, just things to get your body moving faster can help. And then when you're ready to go, get outside and actually sprint. So again, don't do too much too soon. Be realistic with where you're at, but get the body prepped, take it slow, build it. Because again, speed is like a tree. You need to do it often, and you need to do it for a long time. That's what we want to build it going forward. But set unrealistic goals, be realistic with where you're at, and build into it. Keep going, and we'll go from there. But again, if you need help, if you want help, get set up. Don't want to think about it. You just want a plan that says, do this at this time, and then learn how your body works. I can do that, but ultimately, my coaching, I want you to learn how to make and do all this stuff and think for yourself and know what's working, what's not. Find the perfect form. There is no perfect sprint form. We're all different human beings. We shouldn't all be robotic and doing all these stupid technical drills that really get us nowhere and teach us this perfect running form where our hands like this and our knees are like this and our toes are like that. That's just going to make you a robot. We're human beings. At least I hope so. If you want help with that, reach out. trevor.gutting. We'll get you on a good program. Not just speed, but strength and power. And get everything into that training like an athlete, being an athlete for life. But reach out again, trevor@tagpn.com, trevor@tagpn.com is my email. Or you can click on the links below. Check out my site, get applied, get joined up, join the tag team, and we'll get you going. But other than that, have a great time, have a great day. Whenever you're watching this, hopefully you enjoy the Super Bowl. And keep sprinting, people. Let's get fast.